This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start today's session. In the last session of Python object-oriented programming, we just starts with the encapsulation feature. That means encapsulation is the process of providing restriction to access variables and methods. Why we need encapsulation means to prevent the data from modification. So in general, give me 1 second. Why we need encapsulation means to prevent the data from modification. If someone is trying to modify your variables and methods, then we can prevent them. That is the concept of encapsulation clearly. So how do we achieve encapsulation mechanism in Python? By making variables and methods are private only. So according to other languages like C#, .NET, Java, private access modifier, public access modifier, protected access modifiers are there. But in Python, there is no such kind of access modifiers. Only we can say variables and methods private when the variable starts with double underscore, when the method starts with double underscore. So this is private only. As we discussed in the last session, private variables can only be accessed within the same class where we declare it, and we can't able to access outside the class. Okay. So public variables means the variable and methods are starts with no underscore, that is called public variables. Public variables we can able to access anywhere, inside the class, outside the class and all. And protected variables can able to access within the same class and also in its child class only, not in other class. So this is the details which I discussed in the last session. Today we'll look into few examples related to how to access variables and methods in privately and public way. So how to achieve the encapsulation, we'll look into that. First, let's try to create one new application, new file, Python file into this project. So object-oriented programming 15 I'm taking. This is my new file. In this file, I'm taking just a class name car. In this class name car, I'm taking one constructor, sir. This is constructor clearly. So I'm not taking anything inside the constructor. So if you don't want to implement anything inside the constructor, you can use what keyword? Pass keyword. So constructor is a special method. In this method, I'm not using any implementation. That's what I'm using pass keyword, sir. Let's try to include one more method, def underscore underscore update software. Just I'm taking this method name underscore underscore update software. So a method is starts with double underscore. It is called what method, sir? Private method only. And though this is private method, right now this method is a instance method, because instance method, what is instance method? You know that. So this is instance method which is declared with self only. But moreover, it is a private method. Inside the private method, I am trying to print something like car software is updating. Car software is updating. I'm taking updating. Car software is updating. Okay. Now I'm creating object to the car class. So right now, as soon as when we create object to the car class, so who will execute? Constructor will execute. But inside the constructor, do you have any method or any implementation? No. So I want to access this private method inside the constructor. So it's possible, sir. Why? Because in my previous lecture, I discussed clearly. Once we declare a method as instance method, that instance method we can able to access inside the class by using what? Self only. So I'm trying to access this instance method self dot underscore underscore update software method. Self dot underscore underscore update software method I'm taking, because this is what instance method, and moreover it is a private method only. Private method can be able to access within the class or not. Yes. So self dot underscore underscore update software. Okay. So when we create object to the class, constructor will execute. Inside the constructor, I'm accessing update software private method by using self only. Okay. Inside the class, we can access any method by using self only. So let's run this object oriented programming 15.py. Constructor is executing. So constructor inside we are calling what method? Private method. So private method we can access only within the inside the class, not outside the class. So just observe here. Suppose I don't include, hmm, actually this is what I'm not going to include any constructor inside the class. So let's select these two lines and make it as a comment only. How to make comments in Python? Control forward slash. So automatically this car class don't have any constructor right now. But if you don't have any constructor right now, then I want to access this method. But I'm trying to access this method like this. C dot underscore underscore update software I'm taking. So this is what method, sir? Private method. But private method where I'm trying to access outside the class. Line number 11 is outside the class only. That is private method. So can we access private method outside the class? That is line number 11. Not possible, sir. Yeah, this is private method. So we are trying to access. So clear error is coming. Car object has no attribute underscore underscore update software method. Why? Because it's a private method. According to our rule, private methods can be able to access only within the same class, not in outside the class only. But here we are trying to access this private method into outside the class only. That's not correct. So for example, if I try to make this public method, now this time you can see update software is what method? Public method. Though it is an instance method, but it is what actually public method only, sir. Public method. Okay, just a minute. Now, so update software method here. So C equals to car C dot update software method. So now you can see this is public method. Once it is public method, so car software is updating clearly. Okay, car software is updating. So this is what actually public method. Public method can able to access into outside the class and inside the class. But there is no restriction on your method. Okay, if you want to make restrictions on the method, or if you want to allow only within the same class, not in outside the class, then better to go for private method only. If I use public method, public methods can able to access outside the class as well as it's inside the class also. So this is the way to work with methods are public and private. So once I use private method cannot able to access into outside the class. This is not possible. And only private methods can only be accessed what within the same class only, where we declare it inside the constructor we can able to access this private method. So this on this method we have a restriction for not accessing outside the class. Within the class only we can access. Like similarly, I'm taking one more example how to work with private variables. Where do we access them? Clearly we'll look into that. So object oriented programming 16. Let us take one more class again, car. Now this time I'm taking the variables are private only. Car name I'm not going to mention at all. Now you can see max speed is there. Max speed equals to 0 I'm taking. So underscore underscore name is a private variable. Underscore underscore max speed equal to 0 is also private variable. So these two private variables I'm including, but values are not assigned so far. And I'm creating constructor here. Inside the constructor, I'm trying to assign the values to the private variables. Car name is just I'm taking MG Aster. This is the car name. So self dot, but actually underscore underscore max speed I'm setting. So car's max speed is I'm taking first 100 only. So this is what private variables these two are, but values I assigned inside the constructor only. Yes, possible, sir. We can able to assign the values to the private variables inside the constructor, and we can also access them also. How to access them? Print self dot underscore underscore name. That is car name, MG Aster. Print self underscore underscore max speed. Max speed is what actually 0 or sorry 100 only. So as soon as when we create object to the class, so constructor will execute. Inside the constructor, we assign values to the private variables as possible. Inside the constructor only, I'm trying to access private variables values here. Once I start running, now you can see cars of, oh, sorry, this is not executing of your object-oriented programming 16. So let's run the 16th program. Now you can see car name is MG Aster. Car's max speed is initially what I'm setting 100 only. So this is private variables. For example, whenever I try to modify, I'm trying to modifying the car speed. Just wait a minute. Before that, I'm trying to do this. Drive method I'm taking. Drive is a method. But just try to understand drive method is what method? Public method only. Okay. But even in this public method, what I'm trying to do, just I'm trying to make changes here. What I'm trying to do. So just I'm taking format string. So this is what actually MG Aster I'm taking. F, this is what actually car name only. What is this car name? Underscore underscore name. Underscore underscore name is what actually? This is what car name only. But how do we access car name? Self dot underscore underscore name. Okay. MG Aster. Okay. Car driving with the speed. So how to make the speed also? Again, underscore underscore self dot underscore underscore max speed. So this is formatted string only. This example also we have seen in my previous lecture how to access this. F is a formatted string. Self dot underscore underscore name is MG Aster car driving with the speed is self underscore underscore max speed 100 only. When we call this method here, so now you can see drive method is a public method. Public method I am able to access into outside the class. Once I run this constructor through, we are printing MG Aster car name, car speed is max speed is 100. Now in the drive method inside what I'm trying to take MG Aster car driving with the speed 100 only. Okay. Yes. Because it's a public method I'm trying to access outside the class. Not a matter. But just try to understand whenever I'm trying to change max speed variable, it's a private variable equals to 200. And after trying to change this, again I'm trying to recall the drive method. So tell me this changes of max speed variable is going to impact on this drive method calling line number 18? No, sir. Look at here. Is there any changes occurred? No, sir. Again, if I'm trying to attempt to change the max speed variable underscore underscore max speed private variable value 200 from 100, but changes are not impacting on my drive method. Once again, I'm calling speed is still 100 only. So this is the what actually to prevent the modification. So why encapsulation? To prevent the modification from the modification. If someone is trying to modify your data, then we are preventing them. Even if I'm trying to change the max speed variable value from 100 to 200, still I'm not able to change. This is private variable only. So private variables values will not be affected on your method only. In case, just imagine that my max speed variable is not a private. I am making this public only by removing this WhatsApp underscore underscore now. Now this time you can see by removing underscore underscore max speed, if I'm making this variable like max speed is 200, so after changes is impacting on drive method or not? Yes. First initially 100, then I did max speed equal to 200 outside the class. I'm able to access this public method, public variable. Public variable value we can able to change outside the class. So 200 is impacting here only. So this is the difference between what actually private variable and the public variable like this. Public variables at anywhere inside the class, outside the class, at any point of time we can modify it, we can change it. But private variables not allowed to modify in the outside the class. Even if someone is trying to modify the private variables outside the class, then that is not going to be set the impact on your uh, methods. So this is what actually advantage of private variables and private methods like this. So this is car class. On top of the car class, we included two private variables, and inside the constructor I declared, I've assigned the values to the private variables. I access them also, and inside the public method also, I'm calling this method and I'm printing this car details like car driving with speed so and so. Even outside the class, if I try to do modification of max speed value, then it is not possible. Why? Because it's a private variable only. Now let's show you one more simple changes. Suppose in this car class, inside the car class, now you can see set speed I'm taking method. So set speed is what actually? It's a method, sir. Set speed is a method. But this set speed method is having a speed parameter value here. So you know very well whenever the method is having a parameter, when we call that method, you should supply the parameter value only. So def space set speed of self speed. Now you can see self dot underscore underscore max speed. It's a private variable. This private variable value we can able to change within the class, no problem. Let's go for speed I am assigning. Now this time you can see this. I am calling set speed method. Set speed method actually it is a public method only, because a method which is don't starts with any underscore, that is called public method only. C dot set speed I'm taking. But whenever we call this set speed method, this set speed method is expecting one parameter value or not. Parameter means input values or not. Yes, input values only. Let's try to change the speed to 100 only. Now whenever we call this set speed method, 200 will go and stored into speed variable, and this speed parameter will be assigned to max speed only. Right now max speed is 100 only, but speed is 200. 200 we are assigning to the max speed only. So this max speed is a private variable, but private variable we can able to modify within the class only. After set speed method calling, again when we try to recall the drive method, the speed is impacting on drive method, because we are modifying the data within the class only, not outside the class. Using this public method through by passing parameter or input values to this method, and this method is accepting this 200 speed parameter. This 200 speed parameter I'm assigning to underscore underscore max speed private variables only. It is possible, sir. So this is overall private variables and private methods, how to access them, how to restrict them for not accessing outside the class. So this is called encapsulation clearly. So encapsulation is the process of providing restriction to access variables and methods. Why we need encapsulation means to prevent the data from modification. If you want to prevent the data from modification, then we can go for encapsulation mechanism. This is common mechanism in everywhere, even in the inheritance process, abstraction process, polymorphism process, everywhere we can able to use this encapsulation feature. It's not a big deal. So just if you want to convert your variable from public to private variables, it's provide restriction clearly, sir. That is the advantage. Okay. So next, I'm going to start with Other feature of object-oriented programming, that is important feature which I discussed, which I said in the beginning of object-oriented programming introduction, that is called inheritance, sir. So you can give priority to the inheritance more in object-oriented, because inheritance will provide reusability and extensibility features. So using inheritance, we can able to reuse the code, we can extend the logic also. So as I said, that inheritance is the process of creating new class from the existing class. Inheritance is the process of creating new class from the existing class. In inheritance process, existing class is also treated as what, sir? Base class, and also called as parent class, and also called as super class. Any name you can call it as. New class is also called as what, new class. It is a derived class, child class, then subclass only, sir. So any combination you can call it as. The main advantage of inheritance is reusability and extensibility. Reusability means once we have an implementation in parent class, that implementation by default comes to the child class only. So again, inside the child class, you need not to implement any logic. Okay. So directly whatever we have implementation inside the parent class, that implementation directly we can able to access it through child class only. That is the main advantage. Inheritance advantage is reusability and extensibility feature is there. Okay. Yes, there are different types of inheritances are there. Already we discussed in the object-oriented programming introduction point of view. That is single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance. This is okay. So first we'll talk about single inheritance, but before that I need to give the clarity. In what situation generally inheritance concept can be applicable, sir? So assume that there is some X company. Okay, assume that there is an X company. That X company people are having branches in the city. Okay, they are having so many branches in the city. So company people wants to computerize their branch details. Company people wants to do computerized their branch details. So as a programmer, we have to prepare the class. What class? Branch class we have to prepare. Branch related functionality also we have to prepare. Okay. So X company is there. Assume that X company is having so many branches, and company people wants to computerize their branch details. So in this process, as a programmer, I'm trying to create a branch class, sir. Let's try to create a branch class. First, let me create a new Python file, object-oriented programming 17. Let's create a class here. Class name is just I'm taking branch. And I'm taking method, sir. Get underscore branch underscore details. So I'm taking self dot get, sorry, branch data, no, p code. P code means branch code. I'm trying to accept this input values from the end user only. So int of input of enter branch code. Okay, we should ask. Next self dot what actually p name equals to input of enter branch details. Sorry, branch name. Sorry, branch name. Self dot b address equals to input of enter branch address. These are the details which I am accepting from the user when user is going to call this method get underscore branch underscore details. Generally method name, it should be starts with lowercase, and if method name is having multiple words, each word should be starts with underscore only. This is called snake convention. And the class name should be starts with capital letter. If any class name is having multiple number of words, each word should start with capital only. This is called camel case convention. So let's include one more method also, display branch details. So now you can see display purpose. This is branch code is self dot b code. Next branch name is self dot b name. Next branch address is self dot b address. So these are the methods, sir. According to X company, what they're asking, I'm just preparing class program like branch class, and two methods are there here. Now let's try to create an object to the branch class. B equals to branch, it's object creation. B dot get, I'm calling the method with object reference, get branch details. Again, I'm calling with one more method, display branch details. Now coming to this object oriented programming 7, let's run this. And we are calling first get branch details. So branch code is this is branch name. Suppose SR Nagar I'm taking. Branch address is Hyderabad. So we got the branch details printed, sir. Branch code, branch name, branch address, we printed clearly. Okay. So these are the branch details. Fine. So according to company need, like X company, what they're asking, what they're expecting, we did add it as a programmer. Again, same X company, after few days or few months, X company, they're having so many employees in the each branch, sir. Employees. So they wants to computerize it their employee details also. So what should I do? Again, we have to create one more class as a programmer. Let's try to copy this total class and paste into here below. Because I need to prepare one more class according to their company need requirements. I'm creating this class name is what actually employee class only. Now let's try to change the method. Simple. Get EMP details and display EMP details also. I'm modifying that. Display EMP details. So employee ID, employee name, employee address. So enter what actually EMP ID. Enter employee ID. Enter EMP name. Enter EMP address. So now we can see employee ID is employee ID is, employee name is, and employee address is, sir. Now this time I'm taking self dot emp, sorry, eid, self dot e name, self dot e address, like this. So display underscore emp underscore details, get underscore emp underscore details. So this is employee clearly. Now we have to create object for employee class. When we try to create object for employee class, you can say e equal to employee, e dot get underscore emp details, e dot display underscore emp details. So once I run this, we are bringing the details of branch as well as employee. Branch code is something, branch name is, branch address. Now employee ID is something, employee name is, employee address, like this. Any name you can use. So we got the employee details and we got the branch details, sir. So according to their company needs, what they are asking to computerize their branch details and to computerize their employee details, we implement that. We got the result clearly by creating object for them. So this is okay, sir. Later, same X company is asking, they want to know which employee belongs to which branch. So actually, uh, uh, we implement employee class, we implement branch class. When we create object for branch details we are getting. When we create object for employee details we are getting. But if you try to what we can say, if same X company later, if they're asking, they want to know which employee belongs to which branch. So we can't get this information, which employee belongs to which branch, because uh, what we can say, separate classes we created. Branch class is separate, employee class is separate. So we cannot say that this employee belongs to particular branch related. So to do this, what they are asking according to company requirement. So they are asking to know which employee belongs to which branch. To get the information, then we can go for inheritance concept, sir. Inheritance means, so we can inherit one class to another class. Suppose here branch is there already. So this employee class is inherited from branch only. This is inheritance process in Python. So in all the languages, inheritance process is not same. Like, okay, in Java, they'll use employee extend branch. In C#.NET, we use employee colon branch like this. But in Python, we use employee of bracket branch. That means this employee class automatically become what class, called child class. This branch class will become what class, sir? Parent class. As per inheritance rule, whatever we have implementation in the parent class, that is by default available to child class only. So after doing inheritance, sir, which class object we should create? So to get the inheritance advantages, so better to create object for child class only. Got my point? If you want to get the inheritance advantages, better to create child class object only, because child class object through we can automatically access the parent class functionality, sir. Got my point? Yes. But it doesn't mean that we should not create object for parent class. Yes, we can create object for parent class also, but the problem is only you will get parent class functions, not child class functions. But if you create object for child class, using child class object through, we can get parent class functions also. That is the advantage. Now, which class is parent class in these two classes? Branch is the parent class. Which class is child class? Employee is a child class. Let's try to create object for child class. Once I create object for child class, E, E is an object. E dot, now we can see we are getting, even though we are using E is an object of child class, still we are able to access branch class function or not, get underscore branch underscore details. So this is, but because of it is inheritance only. Suppose once you remove the inheritance and check it once, so they don't have any inheritance. So employee class is separate, branch class is separate, sir. No inheritance is there. Now let's try to run this. You can see we don't have any inheritance now. Even when we try to e dot get, so what details are coming? Only employee function is coming. Previously, branch details, branch class function also available in the IntelliSense. That means inheritance was there. So inheritance, because of inheritance only, though we are trying to create object for child class object through we are getting what functionality of branch details and also employee details. So get emp details is coming. Again, display branch details I'm accessing, display emp details I'm accessing. So once we create object for child class object through we can able to access parent class functionalities by default. So this is the inheritance rule. Now this time we can say branch code, branch name, branch address, employee code, employee name, employee address. So we got this all together details. So branch details along with employee details. So this employees belongs to which branch? SR Nagar branch like this. So this is about branch details, employee details all together we got. So because of inheritance only. This is what type of inheritance, sir? Single inheritance. Why? Because creating new class from single base class. I'm creating new class, that is employee class. From which class? Single base class. That is branch class only. Creating new class from single base class, that is branch class. So this is single inheritance only. So this is reusability. This all functionalities, whatever we have in parent class, we are reusing into child class only. Next, there is a possibility to extend the logic. Extends logic means what? Let me show you. So though company is asking like which employee belongs to which branch, if they want to know, they are getting like this. But after getting like this, company X company wants to computerize their employee salary details also later. Later, what they are deciding, they want to computerize their employee salary details also. And along with this salary details, if they want to know which employee belongs to which branch, then we can able to extend one more class from this existing class only. So this extensibility feature is also there in inheritance process. Suppose according to company requirement or client requirement, we create class first, then later we have added this class is inherited from this, but later company requirement is changing. If they are asking to computerize their employee salary details also, then we need to create one more class by extending or not. Yes, now this time I'm creating my class name is EMP salary. This class is inherited from employee class. This type of inheritance is what you know, multi-level inheritance. Why? Because creating new class from already derived class. Here I'm creating EMP salary class from already derived class. That is called employee class only. EMP salary is inherited from employee class. Employee is already derived or not? Yes. Employee is inherited from already branch. So this type of inheritance is called multi-level. Multi-level means one class, branch class, employee is inherited from branch, employee salary is inherited from employee. So this is multi-level. Let's try to implement the functionality of employee salary details only. So first get underscore emp underscore salary. Okay, this is method, sir. As soon as when we call this method, so I am just asking only employee will enter their basic salary only, sir. Only basic. Basic equals to int of input of if you want to accept the basic salary from end user like employee float representation, you can use float of also, you can use, no problem. I'm using int of input of enter basic salary. Only basic salary is entered by the user. After basic enter, I'm taking separate method like calculate methods are calculate. This calculate method is only for calculating employee details. For example, DA, dearness allowance equals to self dot basic into how much percentage you want to calculate dearness allowance. You can say this 0.06. In the basic salary, 0.06% is the DA. HRA I'm taking. HRA means house rental allowance. So how much you want to get the HRA 0.4 percentage from the basic salary, house rental allowance, and total gross salary equals to self dot basic plus self dot DA plus self dot HRA like this. Basic plus DA plus HRA gross salary. Next, I am trying to print what display salary EMP sal. This is what display purpose I'm taking this method. So for display purpose, I'm copying this already available print functions in the previous method. Let's include inside this method only. Just let me change this. So basic salary is this is. Next to what is DA is. Next to what is HRA is. Next print gross is. So self dot what's our gross salary only. Self dot gross. Self dot HRA. Self dot DA. Self dot basic. So basic salary. That's all. Display EMP salary. So display EMP sal is a method. Calculate is a method. This is calculation up to you. You can take any equation, any values, and get underscore EMP sal is a method. So these all methods are belongs to EMP salary. EMP salary is inherited from employee. Employee is inherited from branch. So there are three classes are there in the inheritance hierarchy. So now tell me which class object if I create, I'll get all the details like branch details and employee details and employee salary details. So obviously last class details. Last class is what? EMP salary only. We have to create object for EMP salary. Once we create object for EMP salary, using this object automatically you can get the details of employee. Employee class automatically will get the details of branch only. So e dot get EMP details, branch details, EMP salary, all methods are trying to access. Get branch details first. E dot get EMP details. E dot get only salary, basic salary. E dot calculate. E dot display branch details. E dot display employee details. E dot display employee salary details. So all methods I am trying to access by using one object reference, like which is created object for employee salary class only, sir. E equals to employee salary. So if you want to get advantage of inheritance, better to create object for what's our last class only in the inheritance array. When we create object for last class, that class automatically will collect the information from previous classes like parent classes. So according to inheritance rule, all the parent class implementation by default available to child class only, sir. Okay, so this is, let's run this. You will get entire the details clearly. Now you can see first branch code, branch name, branch address, employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee basic salary. You can give any basic salary, 34,650 for example, basic. In this 34,650 basic, 0.06% is the DA, dearness allowance, 0.4% is the house rental allowance. Total gross also will display. Now you can see branch code is this one, branch name, branch address, employee ID, employee name, employee address, and basic is this one. And in this 0.062079 rupees DA, 13,860 house rental allowance, total salary is 50,589. So we are getting employee salary details, we are getting branch details, we are getting employee details. So according to company need, we are implementing entire the class, all the classes, all the methods we are trying to access. So here only the thing is, we should create object for which class? Last class in the inheritance hierarchy. And we create object for the last class in the inheritance hierarchy, then you will get entire the details possibility. But it doesn't mean that we should not create object for employee. You can also create object for employee. Employee object through we can get employee details, employee functionality, and branch functionality. And also we can create object for branch also, sir. So when we create object for branch means you will get only branch details only. See, simple logic. If you create object for parent class, only you will get parent class functionality. But if we create object for child class, along with child class object, we will get parent functionality also, which is generated from where. So this is multi-level. So single inheritance, multi-level inheritance included here. But still we have to discuss about multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and also moreover, in the inheritance context, what is the constructor role in inheritance context also we have to discuss. So these are all things we'll discuss in next session, that is tomorrow. Regarding this session, if you have any question, please feel free to ask me now. If you have any question, please ask me now. Okay, fine. See you tomorrow.